Thank you, Barbara, for the invitation, and I'm sorry I will speak English. As she said, I don't speak Italian yet, but maybe in the next couple of days. Thanks again for the invitation, and I will briefly present some cases where OCT angio is very important, and sometimes it shows more than any other multimodality imaging shows. My first case, if I'm speaking quickly, please stop me at any time. My first case is a 9-year-old girl. She had right recent diminution of vision, and her best corrected visual acuity is 660 and 6.9 in the left eye, and the anterior segment has nothing, and this is the fluorescein angiography. We can see here that she has something in the center of the macula. It looks like an atrophic macular scar, and the referring doctor was asking me, can we do anything about this girl? And I looked at the picture and I said, what is the diagnosis to do anything about this? So we always look at both eyes. Look at the right eye and the left eye. And here's the fluorescein and the OCT of the right eye. I looked at it. There's a hyperreflective lesion at the level of the retinal pigment epithelium with overlying cystic changes. So is that a CNV, long-standing CNV in a 9-year-old girl? And I looked at the left eye, and I found microcystic changes in the fluorescein, which is not clear. But look at the OCT. The OCT clearly shows hyperreflective cystic spaces, which mean that this girl had a juvenile retinoschisis. So could this be a CNV complicating retinoschisis or just a macular scar? To start with, I looked at it and I said, if this cyst belongs to the foveal schisis, it cannot be a CNV. But if this cyst is an active cyst and it is a CNV, how can I start treating without any evidence? And then at that time, 1.5 years ago, I already had the OCT angio in my clinic, and I looked at it. It's a huge CNV, but the OCT, the regular structural OCT, didn't show anything. Why? This is one, when I stopped and I looked at it. Why the regular OCT didn't show anything? Because we don't know the behavior of CNV in cases complicating dystrophies. Does it behave like age-related, like myopic CNV with the hemorrhage, exudation, edema? I don't think so. So this is, again, when I had the flow, the angio flow, look at it. Look at the CNV and where the flow is coming. It's coming from the choroid. So it's an active CNV complicating foveal schisis. And this justified my treatment. I start treating her by intravitreal anti-VEGF. And look at it. This is at the initial presentation, and this is after the first injection, and this is after the third injection. Regressing, vision is improving from 660 to 680. So I could save vision in this patient, and I look at the flow. The flow is decreasing, and we only have minimal flow where I stopped injection. Is that it? No. Look at the OCT again. Can you see any much improvement while I'm injecting? No. So it means I cannot follow this girl by structural OCT. I cannot depend on it because the three pictures looks almost the same with minimal changes around the structure. So I was following her up, and look at this. In April 1st, and then May 1st, and then June 1st, 3 consecutive months. There is nothing in the OCT, minimal changes in the macular map analysis, but look at the OCT angle. This is at April 1st, this is as May 1st, and this is again 3 months later. So it means that I have to follow her up by OCT angio, and I cannot count on regular structural OCT. And look at the flow. The flow is increasing, the membrane is getting back again, and I should have injected after the second one. Why? Because I didn't have a confidence to depend only on OCT angio in following up this girl. And look at this, I repeated the fluorescein by myself, and I looked at it, and I magnified. There is a vessel supplying this CNV. It sounds like CNV started in the retina and then dipped down to the choroid. And this is the superficial plexus, but look at the deep plexus. Most of the things is at the level of the deep plexus. And this is the left eye, and this is the explanation of the microcystic changes in the left eye. This is the typical bicycle wheel we see in foveal schisis. This is the picture when I magnified the fluorescein, and this is the superficial capillaries. Nothing at the level of the superficial capillaries. But look at the deep capillaries. Dilated, surrounded by, the schisis is surrounded by dilated deep capillaries, which is not mentioned in the literature because we didn't have OCT angio to examine these cases of the juvenile retinoschisis. And this is the color code, and this is the best picture you will see. This is the flow. around the schisis and the cystic changes surrounding this, and it is only at the level of the deep capillary plexus, which we could not even delineate before because we didn't have OCT angio. My quick second case is a 59-year-old male who had a chronic CSR. He has been treated by laser photocoagulation, by drugs, and this is the presentation. Multiple points of leak, typical CSR with multiple retinal pigment epithelium detachment. But every now and then he had recurrence, and this is his picture, and OCT angio showed a very nice, large, choroidal neovascular membrane, which could not be seen by the fluorescein angiography because of the chronic picture. Stippling of the retinal pigment epithelium, multiple points of leak. You cannot even say there is an occult CNV with the fluorescein angiography picture, and this is the angio flow. We can see a nice, which we call silent CNV. We don't delineate this CNV by regular pictures like fluorescein or OCT because we don't expect to have this. A lot of literature now is speaking about the silent CNV, and treating this, it needs a photodynamic therapy. And here's the magnified picture where the flow is showing the flow inside the choroidal neovascular membrane. My last case in 1 minute, a patient complaining of diminution of vision with central scotoma in his right eye, and the fluorescein says nothing. And this is his left eye, and I looked at it, what is going on? Why he's complaining of central scotoma, and I cannot see anything? And then I magnified the fluorescein for you, and look at it. You can find nothing. There is nothing to count on because explaining the diminution of vision. And this is his OCT. Look at this. Multiple line scans. This is one line, another line, vertical line, horizontal line. What do you see in there? Just a tiny hyperreflective lesion at the level of the inner nuclear layer. What is this? And I delineate this. A very tiny hyperreflective lesion at the level of the inner layers, which explain the scotoma and explain the diminution of vision. And this is the angio. The superficial capillaries doesn't show anything, but look at the deep capillaries in a minute. Ischemia around the fovea, hypoperfusion around the fovea. And this is what we call PAM, paramacular acute middle maculopathy, where the ischemia hits only the deep capillary plexus, not the superficial one. And here is the flow. You can see it by the flow. Ischemia around the fovea, which is not explained by fluorescein or not seen by fluorescein, and it does explain the central scotoma. And this is the 3x3. It's more obvious that the flow around the fovea is diminished because of the deep capillary ischemia. And this is what we call PAM. It hits the middle layers at the level of the inner nuclear, outer and inner boundary of the inner nuclear layer. And let me magnify the color picture for you. Look at this. There's very tiny cholesterol emboli around the fovea. When I magnify the picture, look, is this the cause? It probably is the cause, but sometimes we see this and we see normal fluorescein angiography and we cannot explain why this is going on because it hits only the deep capillary plexus. And here is the overlying flow. You can see the ischemia, and we can see much more ischemia if we go wider and wider. This is my take-home message. OCT angiography is, again and again, it's helping in the diagnosis, it justifies treatment, and I think in the future it might replace fluorescein angiography. Thank you so much for your listening. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now it works. So congratulations for your presentation.
Thanks a lot.
Very beautiful images. A question about the first case. Did you think about Mactel for the first case instead of retinoschisis?
I did. And I have an argument in Madrid last month when I presented this, but I cut off a movie. I have a movie for this showing that there is a telangiectasia around the foveus cases, but again, foveus cases nowadays can be surrounded by deep capillary plexus dilatation by pushing of the cyst again to the deep capillary plexus with dilated capillaries. And I thought of schisis, I'm sorry for the telangiectasia, but it's still an option, but an option in addition to the foveus cases, because we don't see that cyst. And by the way, this patient in the follow-up, I present this tomorrow, I did her acetazolamide, which is a carbonic anhydrase inhibitor, and the cyst goes away in the left eye. So it could be a combination, but it cannot be only telangiectasia. And the movie I'll present tomorrow says what you said. That's why I did cut today, because the movie tomorrow shows the large telangiectatic vessels coming from the retina down to the CNV. So it could be a combined lesion, but I didn't have to raise up that. Thank you for that question, but you burn my case tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so much.